All right, so Joe Biden says that his plan is working. He says we've reached 40 stock market records just this year. Kind of tried slamming Donald Trump for looking at the stock market and declaring that because the stock market's doing well, the economy must be doing well. This was a Joe Biden slam on Donald Trump, of course. But Joe Biden spent time talking about the economy, talked about how we've been averaging 750,000 jobs per month. I think it was very interesting that he kind of really tried to play down the fact that the jobs, we had this massive inflection point this month in jobs creation, that we had this plummet in job creation this month. And so he went with the 3-month average and then talked about how he's added double any prior president in their first year of jobs. But it's also kind of unfair to do both of those things because a 3-month average discredits the inflection point that we just saw because of Delta, and double any prior president's first year is unfair because what other president in their first year has come out of a pandemic, right? So that would be worth looking into. I don't imagine, I mean, maybe we can go back to 1920 or something like that, but was that their first year, right? So I don't know, just that seems a little weird. This was really an opportunity, though, for him to talk about, hey, well, actually, he also pressured. This was interesting. There was a moment where he pressured the Federal Reserve. He says, hey, we got to keep the the support going for this competition we're seeing where wages are going up. He actually cheered the fact that wages were going up, which is an inflationary concern. But he actually is saying, no, this is good. We want to see wages going up, which I understand from the worker point of view, totally understand. But the market is looking at that going, wait a minute, wages going up at a rate of 7.2% per year because they went up 0.5%, well, actually 0.6% month over month. That is, the market's looking at that going, ooh, that's concerning. That's potentially an inflationary concern, right? But Joe Biden's actually cheering this. So it's kind of interesting the way he's branding his message here. Obviously, it's all in favor of him, but this is what you would expect a politician to do. But anyway, then he really uses this as an opportunity to talk about investing in America, long-run stimulus rather than short-term stimulus. He talks about how next week he's going to talk about how he's going to protect schools and how they're going to combat the Delta variant. Personally, it blows my mind that the government has not been doing this. I think if Joe Biden or anybody in his staff is listening to this, I just want to shake you and grab you, or like the governors of our states, just want to shake you and grab you. Three things. People are doing masks, people are doing vaccines, but nobody's doing the third thing, and it's driving me nuts. Filtration and ventilation. You go into restaurants today, no filters, no HEPA filters. Why? You got to do all three. All three, very, very important, especially in schools because of young children who can't get vaccinated or don't wear masks. People sit down in a restaurant, they take their mask off. This is why people don't think masks work. It makes sense. Take your mask off, mask can't work, right? Low quality masks don't work. Where's the HEPA filtration and the push for this? It blows my mind that we're trying to fight a pandemic and nobody cares about cleaning the air except for the airlines. Blows my mind. Who knows? Maybe he'll talk about that next week. I would be very impressed if he talked about HEPA filtration next week and actually pushed HEPA filtration. I'm shocked our government doesn't do that. It's stupid. But then again, when you look at the CDC's website and they're telling you not to wear N95s, you can't really trust the government as far as you can throw it. That's so dumb. Anyway, going back to what Joe Biden said rather than Kevin's rant, Joe Biden branded this infrastructure package as not short-term stimulus, but instead long-term prosperity. I thought this was interesting because he's really trying to distance himself from, we're not just sending another stimulus check, we're investing in longer-run priorities. Now, some of these things are stimulus towards individuals. I mean, free community college, the free pre-kindergarten, the extension of the child tax credit. That's a monthly stimulus check, right? The $250 per month for children under 18 years old, and $300 per month for children under 6 years old if you're within the income criteria. Right? We know about these. Those are forms of stimulus and shorter-term stimulus. But this longer-term prosperity he's talking about, better roads, highways, safer, making us more resilient to weather. This, by the way, big Democratic push right now. The Democrats are just railing on the Republicans in Congress right now with pictures of New York and the floods going, see, climate change is real. See, we need better infrastructure to prevent this sort of disaster of flooding in our subways or whatever, which to AOC's credit, and I have not fact-checked this, but AOC mentioned that areas that after Hurricane Sandy had infrastructure improvement did not flood as bad or at all compared to areas that did not have the infrastructure improvement, which I suppose makes sense. I mean, I guess that would mean money well spent, right? Which to her point, would be good if that's true. Maybe somebody in the comments can fact check that. But anyway, and I'll try to fact check that later as well. Joe Biden goes on to say that 90% of the jobs they're going to create in their massive infrastructure here, their massive infrastructure plans won't require a college degree. Solar farms, wind farms, I'm a big fan of both of those, by the way. As long as you can actually get the power to our cities, obviously we got to invest in battery technology as well. Very, very important. Okay, then we've got childcare investments to make it easier for families to go back to work, home care for seniors, making us more competitive. We want to create millions of jobs, bring down the cost of prescription drugs, allowing Medicare to negotiate drug payments. No tax increases on anyone making under $400,000. Obviously, a big argument that he said. We've, of course, heard Biden and Democrats talk a lot about raising taxes by doing things like getting rid of the 1031 tax deferred exchange on anything over $500,000. That, by the way, I think is a stupid mistake that's going to concentrate institutional investments into smaller properties, which compete with home buyers. I think that's very, very stupid, but whatever. They want to get rid of the stepped up tax basis, raise capital gains to normal tax rates on those making over $1 million, raise the top tier marginal tax rate to 39.6%. From where it is now, around 38% or whatever. They want to make sure that corporations like Amazon that pay no income taxes, pay taxes. I personally think this is, like, if you run a business, you understand why Amazon doesn't pay income taxes. And I'm not trying to come to Amazon's defense here. I don't know everything about Amazon's taxes and their tax situation, but I do know that Amazon takes almost all of the profit they have and invests it into building new factories, new stores, coming out with new products. And all of those things create a lot of jobs. Like, the reason the tax code is written in a way to incentivize businesses to spend money is because when businesses spend money, they create jobs. That's why you get business tax write-offs for investing in your business and on business expenses. This is why self-employed people get tax write-offs for buying stuff that's business related. It's good for the economy, it creates jobs, right? That's the point. So I think, Joe Biden branding corporations not paying taxes when they have millions or billions of dollars in revenue is a little bit disingenuous to the way the tax code is actually designed to be beneficial to creating more jobs. Anyway, then he does sort of, this was interesting. He says corporations are now spending millions of dollars lobbying Congress to make sure that the tax increases don't go through. I hate lobbying, by the way. I think it's shady, but I get it. It's part of the game. You got to play the game, right? The politics is so nasty. It's so disgusting. But anyway, Joe Biden says, look, in the past, lobbying has worked, but it ain't going to work with me. He says he doesn't think it's going to work with him. He thinks that they're going to get these big tax measures through. And look, the biggest block right now for Joe Biden has been people like Kristen Sinema and Joe Manchin, who were kind of sitting in the middle like, we should pause. We should wait before passing these infrastructure plans. And if anything, this latest jobs report, I think, could actually help accelerate discussions in Congress a little bit around maybe passing the stimulus packages sooner. So I've got all my eyes right now on Joe Manchin to see how he reacts to this jobs report. Citizens United with the unlimited donations. That, I think, is a problem because it really makes elections a game of corporate puppets. So I'm not a big fan of Citizens United, although I understand why Citizens United exists, because Citizens United is like, well, I mean, corporations are technically just like a person, and so why should they be limited with corporate donations, right? But I don't really support the Citizens United decision, especially seeing how much lobbying and corporate influence there is in politics. There's a lot. Let me give you a quick example. Gavin Newsom gets a $7 million donation from Google. The LA Times covered this. A few days later, Google gets a multi-million-dollar no-bid contract for services from the California government. Or here's another one. Gavin Newsom gives Netflix the authorization to stay open during the pandemic while all of our small businesses are shut down. 1/3 of our restaurants go bankrupt. And Gavin Newsom happens to get a $3 million donation from Netflix's co-CEO. See where I'm going with this? Like, there's definitely some shadiness in terms of how lobbying and donations and corporate money is or functions, and I personally find it untransparent. I don't know if that's a word. Not transparent. I find it lacking transparency, borderline corrupt. Okay, good. So there's a summary of what Joe Biden just said and my thoughts. Yes, George Soros also gave money to Joe Biden. I'm sorry, to Gavin Newsom. Anyway, recall Newsom. Okay, folks. Thank you very much. No. It's not a matter, Don, of the rate. They're talking about imposing a minimum tax on corporations. Not just, they are talking about increasing that corporate tax rate, which we don't actually expect the corporate tax rate to go up from 21% to 28%. If it goes up, it might go up to like 24 or 25%. But rate aside, there's talk about a minimum corporate tax. Like, it's kind of like an alternative minimum tax for people's personal income taxes, where at bare minimum, a corporation will pay a certain percentage, even if they've spent all of their money on those tax write-offs. So that's more of the discussion there. Because yes, otherwise you are correct. Okay, now with that said, make sure to get yourself quotes on cheaper insurance potentially. Go to metkevin.com/lemonade and get a quote for homeowners insurance, renters insurance, pet insurance, life insurance, lots of insurances, soon to be car insurance. Go to metkevin.com/lemonade. Thank you very much for watching this. And folks, we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.